Lisa Martinez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she stepped out of the small clinic. The summer heat hit her like a wall, even though it was only noon. She had been working since 6 in the morning, helping sick people and filling out endless paperwork. Her lunch break was only 30 minutes, but she needed every second of it. She walked across the street to Maple Park, carrying her brown bag lunch. The park was quiet, with only a few mothers pushing their babies in strollers. Lisa found her favorite bench under an old oak tree and sat down. She opened her bag and pulled out a peanut butter sandwich and a bottle of water. Before she could take her first bite, she heard a strange sound. It was like someone trying to breathe but having trouble. Lisa looked around and saw an old man sitting on a bench about 20 feet away. He was bent over, holding his chest with both hands. His face was very pale and he seemed to be in pain. Lisa quickly put her sandwich back in the bag and walked over to him. The man looked to be in his 70s with white hair and wearing a simple blue shirt and old jeans. His hands were shaking as he tried to breathe. "Sir, are you okay?" Lisa asked, kneeling down next to his bench. The old man looked up at her with worried eyes. I think something is wrong with my heart," he said in a weak voice. "It hurts so much." Lisa could see that his lips were turning a little blue. She had seen this before at the clinic. This man was having heart problems and needed help right away. "What's your name?" she asked, trying to keep her voice calm. "Frank," he said, still holding his chest. "Frank Coleman." "Okay, Frank. I'm Lisa, and I'm a nurse. I think you need to go to the hospital right now. Do you have someone I can call?" Frank shook his head slowly. "My grandson lives far away. He travels a lot for work. I don't want to bother him." Lisa looked around the park. There were no other people nearby who could help. The nearest hospital was 30 miles away in the next town. Calling an ambulance would take too long, and she wasn't sure Frank could wait that long. "Frank, I have my car right here," Lisa said, pointing to her old Honda Civic parked on the street. "I can drive you to the hospital. It will be faster than waiting for an ambulance." Frank tried to stand up but almost fell back. Down. Lisa caught his arm and helped him stay steady. "Are you sure?" he asked. "I don't want to cause trouble for you." "No trouble at all," Lisa said, even though she knew she would probably be late getting back to work. "Come on, let's get you some help." She helped Frank walk slowly to her car. He was moving very carefully, and she could tell each step was hard for him. Lisa opened the passenger door and helped him sit down. She made sure his seatbelt was on, then ran around to the drivers. As they drove out of town, Frank leaned back in his seat and closed his eyes. "Thank you," he said quietly. "You don't even know me, but you're helping me." "That's what people do," Lisa said, keeping her eyes on the road. "We help each other." Frank was quiet for a few minutes. Then he started talking again. "My grandson would be proud of you," he said. "He works with the stars, you know. Always traveling, always busy with important things." Lisa thought Frank might mean his grandson worked in movies or television. "That sounds interesting," she said. "He's doing important work," Frank continued. "Very important, but I miss him. I don't see him much anymore." Lisa could hear the sadness in Frank's voice. She knew how it felt to miss family. Her own parents lived far away, and she didn't see them very often because of her work. "I'm sure he misses you too," Lisa said. "Sometimes people get so busy with work that they forget what's really important." Frank nodded. "He's a good boy. Always was, even when he was little. Smart too. Much smarter than his old grandfather." They drove through the countryside, passing farms and small houses. Frank's breathing seemed to get a little better, but Lisa could tell he was still in pain. She drove as fast as she safely could, wanting to get him to the hospital quickly. "Do you have any other family?" Lisa asked, trying to keep Frank talking. "Not really," Frank said. "My wife died 5 years ago. My son and his wife died in a car accident when my grandson was young. It's just me and him now, but like I said, he's always busy with his work." Lisa felt sorry for Frank. She couldn't imagine being so alone. At least she had her job at the clinic, where she could help people and feel useful. After about 25 minutes, they reached the hospital. Lisa pulled up to the emergency room entrance and parked right in front of the doors. She ran inside and got a wheelchair, then came back to help Frank. "I can walk," Frank said, but Lisa could see he was very tired. "Save your strength," she said, helping him into the wheelchair. "Let me take care of this." Inside the hospital, Lisa explained to the nurses what had happened. They quickly took Frank into an examination room. A doctor came out a few minutes later and told Lisa that Frank was having heart problems and would need to stay in the hospital. "Is he going to be okay?" Lisa asked. "We're going to take good care of him," the doctor said. "Thank you for bringing him in so quickly. You probably saved his life." Lisa felt relieved but also worried about Frank being alone. She decided to stay for a while to make sure he was comfortable. She called her clinic and explained why she would be late coming back from lunch. When she went to see Frank in his hospital room, he was lying in bed with wires connected to machines that were beeping softly. He looked much better than he had. "In the park. How are you feeling?" Lisa asked. "Much better, thanks to you," Frank said. He reached into his shirt pocket and pulled out a small, worn business card. "I want you to have this," he said, holding it out to her. Lisa took the card and looked at it. It had a strange logo that looked like a spaceship flying around the Earth, and it said Coleman Interstellar Solutions at the top. At the bottom, it said CEO Alex Coleman. "If something happens to me," Frank said, "please call my grandson. His name is Alex. That's his business card." Lisa put the card in her pocket. "Nothing is going to happen to you, Frank. The doctors here are very good." Frank smiled weakly. "You're a kind person, Lisa. The world needs more people like you." 3 days had passed since Lisa brought Frank to the hospital. She had visited him twice, bringing him magazines and talking with him about simple things like the weather and her work at the clinic. Frank seemed to be getting better, and the doctor said his heart was stable. On Thursday morning, Lisa was getting ready for work when her phone rang. She didn't recognize the number, but she answered it anyway. "Is this Lisa Martinez?" asked a woman's voice. "Yes, this is Lisa. This is Dr. Williams from Regional Hospital. I'm calling about Frank Coleman. I'm sorry to tell you this, but Mr. Coleman passed away peacefully in his sleep last night." Lisa felt like someone had punched her in the stomach. She sat down on her bed trying to understand what she had just heard. "But he was getting better," Lisa said. "I saw him yesterday and he seemed fine. Sometimes these things happen with heart patients," Dr. Williams said gently. "His heart just couldn't keep going. He didn't suffer. He went very peacefully." After Lisa hung up the phone, she sat quietly for a long time. She had only known Frank for a few days, but his death made her very sad. She thought about how alone he had been, with only his busy grandson who was always traveling. Then she remembered the business card Frank had given her. She found it in her purse and looked at it again. The strange logo with the spaceship still puzzled her. She had never heard of Coleman Interstellar Solutions, but Frank had asked her to call his grandson if something happened. Lisa looked at the card for a long time before she decided to make the call. She dialed the number and waited. "Coleman Interstellar Solutions, how may I help you?" answered a professional-sounding woman. Hello," Lisa said. "I'm calling about Frank Coleman. I think he's the grandfather of your CEO, Alex Coleman." There was a long pause on the other end of the phone. "Can you hold, please?" the woman said. And before Lisa could answer, she was listening to soft music. Lisa waited for almost 5 minutes before someone else came on the line. "This is Janet Pierce, executive assistant to Mr. Coleman. Who am I speaking with?" "My name is Lisa Martinez. I'm a nurse and I helped Frank Coleman a few days ago when he had heart problems. He gave me this business card and asked me to call if something happened to him." Another long pause. "Something happened?" Janet asked, and Lisa could hear worry in her voice. "I'm very sorry to tell you this, but Frank passed away last night at the hospital." Lisa heard Janet take a sharp breath. "Oh no. Mr. Coleman is going to be very upset. He's been trying to get back to see his grandfather, but he's been stuck in meetings all week." "Stuck in meetings?" Lisa asked. "Where is he?" Well, he's not able to travel right now, but he'll want to meet with you as soon as possible. Can you come to our office today?" Lisa thought about her work schedule. I guess I could come after I finish work. Where is your office? Janet gave her an address that Lisa didn't recognize. It was about an hour's drive from her town, in an area she had never been to before. Just tell the security guards at the front gate that you're here to see Mr. Coleman about Frank, Janet said. They'll be expecting you. Security guards? Lisa thought that was strange for a business office, but she agreed to come at 5 o'clock. After work, Lisa drove to the address Janet had given her. As she got closer, she realized she was driving toward what looked like a government building. There were high fences around the property, and serious-looking men in dark suits standing at the entrance. Lisa parked her car and walked up to the front gate. One of the security guards, a tall man with short hair, stepped forward. "Can I help?" "You?" he asked. "I'm Lisa Martinez. I'm here to see Alex Coleman about his grandfather Frank." The guard checked something on his tablet, then nodded. "Please wait here while we call this in." The guard spoke quietly into a small radio attached to his shirt. Lisa couldn't hear what he was saying, but after a few minutes, he came back to her. "Someone will escort you inside. But first, I need to see your driver's license, and you'll need to leave your phone and purse in this locker." Lisa was confused. "Why do I need to leave my phone?" "Security reasons, ma'am. Don't worry, your things will be safe." Lisa did what the guard asked, even though it seemed very strange. A woman in a dark suit came out of the building and walked over to her. "Ms. Martinez? I'm Janet Pierce. Thank you for coming." Janet led Lisa through several doors, each one requiring a special card to open. They walked down long hallways with no windows and bright white lights. Lisa felt like she was in a hospital or maybe a government building, not a regular office. "What kind of business is this?" Lisa asked as they walked. "Mr. Coleman will explain everything," Janet said. "I know this all seems unusual, but there are reasons for the security." They stopped at another door, and Janet used her card to open it. Inside was a small room with a table and 2 chairs. The walls were white and empty except for a large screen on one wall. "Mr. Coleman will be with you in just a moment," Janet said, then left Lisa alone in the room. Lisa sat down and looked around. This definitely wasn't like any business office she had ever seen. Everything was very clean and modern, but also very serious. She was starting to wonder what Frank's grandson really did for work. After about 10 minutes, the door opened and a young man walked in. He looked to be in his early 30s, with dark hair and tired eyes. He was wearing a simple dark suit, but Lisa noticed that his shoes looked very expensive. "Ms. Martinez," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Alex Coleman. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for everything you did for my grandfather." Lisa shook his hand. "I'm sorry for your loss. Your grandfather was a very nice man." Alex sat down across from her, and Lisa could see sadness in his face. "I should have been there," he said quietly. "I was supposed to visit him this week, but my work is complicated." "He understood," Lisa said. "He told me you were doing important work with the stars. He was proud of you." Alex looked up at Lisa with surprise. "He said I work with the stars?" "Yes. I thought maybe you worked in movies or television." Alex was quiet for a moment, then he looked directly at Lisa. "Ms. Martinez, what I'm about to tell you is going to sound very strange, but my grandfather was right. I do work with the stars, just not in the way you might think." The large screen on the wall suddenly turned on, showing what looked like a map of space with stars and planets marked on it. "Ms. Martinez," Alex said, "I think it's time you learned what Coleman Interstellar Solutions really does." Lisa stared at the screen showing the star map. The lights and symbols were moving slowly, and she could see what looked like different colored dots scattered across the display. "I don't understand," Lisa said. "What is this?" Alex pressed a button on the table, and the image changed. Now the screen showed what looked like Earth from space, but there were strange objects floating around it that Lisa had never seen before. "Ms. Martinez, what I'm about to tell you is classified information. Before we continue, I need you to sign some papers promising that you won't tell anyone else about this conversation." A woman entered the room carrying a folder full of documents. Lisa looked at the papers, but the words were complicated and hard to understand. What will happen if I don't sign these? Lisa asked. Then I'll have to ask you to leave and you'll never know why my grandfather thought you were so special, Alex said gently. But Lisa, if you sign these papers, you'll learn something that will change how you see the world forever. Lisa thought about Frank and how kind he had been to her. She thought about how he had given her the business card and asked her to call his grandson. Something told her that Frank would want her to know the truth. Okay, she said, and signed the papers. Alex smiled for the first time since she had met him. Thank you. Now let me show you what my grandfather spent his life working on. The screen changed again. This time Lisa saw what looked like a huge ship floating in space. It was bigger than any airplane she had ever seen, and it had a strange shape with smooth curves and bright lights. That ship is not from Earth, Alex said quietly. Lisa felt her heart start beating faster. What do you mean? I mean it was built by people who are not human, people from other planets. Lisa stared at the screen. The ship looked real, not like something from a movie. You're telling me that aliens are real? Not just real, Alex said. They've been watching Earth for over 50 years. And my grandfather was one of the first people to make contact with them. The screen showed more images now. Lisa saw different types of ships, and then pictures of creatures that definitely weren't human. Some were tall and thin with large eyes. Others were covered in what looked like scales. One group looked almost like giant insects. This is impossible, Lisa whispered. I know it's hard to believe, Alex said. But it's all true. These beings come from different planets all over this part of the galaxy. They formed a group called the Galactic Confederation, and they work together to trade goods and share knowledge. Lisa couldn't stop staring at the images on the screen. Why haven't they told everyone on Earth about this? Alex's face became serious. Because they're not sure if humans are ready to join them. They've been watching us for decades, trying to decide if we can be trusted. What do you mean? Think about it, Alex said. Humans fight wars. We pollute our planet. We sometimes hurt each other for no good reason. To many of these alien species, humans look dangerous and primitive. The screen changed to show what looked like a video of alien creatures sitting around a large table. They seemed to be having some kind of meeting. This is a recording from one of their council meetings, Alex explained. They've been debating for years about whether to invite humans to join the Confederation or to leave Earth alone until we become more peaceful. Lisa watched the alien beings talking to each other in languages she couldn't understand. What does this have to do with your grandfather? My grandfather was chosen 50 years ago to be part of a secret program, Alex said. His job was to collect evidence that humans could be good members of the Confederation. He spent decades documenting acts of human kindness and compassion. Alex pressed another button, and the screen showed photographs and video clips of people helping each other. Lisa saw images of humans rescuing animals, helping elderly people, and taking care of sick children. Every time my grandfather saw someone do something kind for a stranger, he would document it and send the information to the Confederation, Alex continued. He was building a case that humans have good hearts, even if we sometimes make mistakes. Lisa began to understand. The day I helped him in the park, he recorded everything, Alex said, nodding. The way you stopped eating your lunch to help a complete stranger. The way you drove him to the hospital without asking for anything in return. The way you stayed with him to make sure he wasn't alone. The screen now showed a video that made Lisa gasp. It was a recording of her helping Frank from the park bench to her car. Someone had been watching them the whole time. Who was filming this? Lisa asked. The Confederation has observation devices all over Earth, Alex explained. They've been watching us constantly, looking for proof of either our kindness or our cruelty. Lisa felt overwhelmed. So aliens have been spying on us? Not spying exactly, Alex said. More like studying. They want to understand what humans are really like before they decide whether to make contact with our entire planet. The screen changed to show a document written in English. Lisa could see her name at the top of the page. What is that? She asked. It's a report my grandfather wrote about you. Alex said. He sent it to the Confederation the night before he died. In this report, he argues that your actions prove humans are ready to join the galactic community. Lisa read some of the words on the screen. Frank had written about how she had helped him without expecting anything in return. He described her as an example of the best qualities that humans possess. I don't understand why this is so important, Lisa said. People help each other all the time. That's exactly why it's important, Alex replied. You think helping a stranger is normal. But many species in the Confederation don't have that instinct. They only help members of their own families or tribes. The fact that humans will help complete strangers is actually very unusual in the galaxy. Alex stood up and walked to the screen. Lisa, your simple act of kindness has become the final piece of evidence in a debate that has been going on for decades. Because of what you did for my grandfather, the Confederation is finally ready to make a decision about humanity. What kind of decision? Lisa asked, though she was afraid to hear the answer. They want to meet with us officially, not secretly, like they have been doing. They want to offer humanity a chance to join the Confederation as equal partners. Lisa felt dizzy. You mean they want to reveal themselves to the whole world? Yes, Alex said. But first they want to meet with you. Me? Why me? Alex smiled. Because my grandfather convinced them that you represent the best of humanity. They want to meet the person who proved that humans are ready to be part of something bigger than just our own planet. The screen now showed what looked like a calendar with a date marked in red just 3 days away. Lisa, Alex said, in 3 days you're going to meet representatives from 12 different planets. And what you say to them could determine the future of every person on Earth. Lisa looked at Alex, then at the screen, then back at Alex. I'm just a nurse from a small town. I don't know anything about space or aliens or galactic politics. That's exactly why they want to meet you, Alex said. You're not a politician or a scientist or a military leader. You're just a regular person who chose to help someone who needed help. And that, Lisa, might be humanity's greatest strength. Lisa spent the next hour asking Alex hundreds of questions. Her head was spinning with everything she had learned, but she still couldn't fully believe that aliens were real and that they wanted to meet her. I need to show you something else, Alex said, pressing more buttons on the control panel. You need to understand what we're really dealing with here. The large screen changed to show what looked like a courtroom, but much bigger than any courtroom Lisa had ever seen. There were creatures sitting in rows of seats that went up very high, almost like a stadium. Lisa recognized some of the alien types from the pictures Alex had shown her earlier. This is a recording from last week, Alex explained. The Confederation Council was debating whether humanity should be invited to join them, or whether Earth should be left alone for another 100 years. Lisa watched as different aliens stood up and spoke. Even though she couldn't understand their languages, Alex translated for her. The tall blue one there is named Zarek, Alex said, pointing to a creature that looked like a very thin human with blue skin and no hair. He's from a planet called Nexion Prime. He's been arguing against letting humans join the Confederation. On the screen, the blue alien was speaking in a deep voice and making gestures with his long arms. What is he saying? Lisa asked. He's listing all the wars humans have fought in the past 100 years, Alex said. He's talking about World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and dozens of smaller conflicts. He's saying that humans are too violent to be trusted with advanced technology. Lisa felt sick to her stomach. She knew humans had fought many wars, but hearing it from an alien's perspective made it sound even worse. Another alien stood up to speak. This one looked like a giant turtle with arms and legs, but its shell was covered in beautiful patterns. That's Ambassador Kelleth from the Torthan Collective, Alex said. She's also against accepting humans, but for different reasons. The turtle-like alien spoke in a musical voice that sounded almost like singing. She's talking about how humans treat their planet, Alex translated. She's showing them pictures of polluted rivers, destroyed forests, and cities covered in smog. She's saying that any species that destroys their own home planet can't be trusted to visit other worlds. Lisa watched as the screen showed images of oil spills, plastic waste in the oceans, and dead animals. She had seen these things on the news, but seeing them presented as evidence against humanity made her feel ashamed. Do they have a point? Lisa asked quietly. Some of their concerns are valid, Alex admitted. Humans have made mistakes. Big mistakes. But that's not the whole story. The recording continued, and now Lisa saw a different type of alien standing up. This one looked almost human, but with silver skin and very large eyes. That's Counselor Vex from the Andromedan Union, Alex said. She's been one of humanity's strongest supporters on the council. The silver alien spoke in a voice that sounded gentle and kind. She's defending humans, Alex translated. She's saying that every species in the Confederation went through a violent period before they learned to live in peace. She's arguing that humans are still young as a species and deserve a chance to grow. Lisa felt a little better hearing this. But then another alien stood up. This one looked like a giant insect with multiple arms and glowing eyes. Commander Thrix from the Hive Worlds, Alex said with a sigh. He's been neutral in this debate, but what he says usually influences a lot of other council members. The insect alien made clicking and buzzing sounds as it spoke. He's saying that the question isn't whether humans are violent or peaceful. Alex translated. He's saying the real question is whether humans can learn to put the needs of others before their own needs. He says most species are naturally selfish, and that's not necessarily bad. But membership in the Confederation requires the ability to make sacrifices for strangers. Lisa watched as the Alien Council continued their debate. Some spoke in favor of humans, others spoke against them. The whole time she felt like she was watching her entire species being put on trial. How long have they been having these debates? Lisa asked. About 15 years, Alex said. Ever since they decided that humans were advanced enough technologically to potentially join the Confederation, but they couldn't agree on whether we were advanced enough morally. The screen changed to show a different part of the recording. Now Lisa saw an alien that looked like a tall, thin tree with moving branches, 4 arms. Elder Fothin from the Grove Collective, Alex said. She's about to show the council something that changed everything. The tree-like alien spoke in a voice that sounded like wind blowing through leaves. As she spoke, the screen showed images that made Lisa gasp. It was Frank, walking through different towns and cities over many years. In each scene, he was watching humans help each other. Lisa saw people helping elderly strangers cross streets, giving food to homeless people, and stopping to help drivers with flat tires. Your grandfather filmed all of this? Lisa asked. Not just filmed, Alex said. He spent 40 years traveling around the world, documenting every act of human kindness he could find. He sent thousands of hours of video to the Confederation. Lisa watched as the recording showed Frank in hospitals, where he filmed nurses taking care of patients who couldn't pay for treatment. She saw him at schools recording teachers staying late to help struggling students. She saw him at disaster sites, filming rescue workers risking their lives to save strangers. But the aliens said humans are selfish, Lisa said. Some are, Alex replied. But my grandfather proved that many humans will help others even when there's no benefit to themselves. That's very rare in the galaxy. The screen now showed the tree alien presenting Lisa's story to the council. There was video of Lisa helping Frank in the park, driving him to the hospital and staying with him to make sure he wasn't alone. Elder Fothin told the council that your actions represent something special about humans, Alex said. She argued that while some humans are violent and some are selfish, many humans have an instinct to help strangers that most other species don't possess. Lisa watched as the alien council members responded to her story. Some seemed impressed, others still looked doubtful. What happened next? Lisa asked. The council voted to postpone their final decision, Alex said. They decided they wanted to meet you in person before making their choice about humanity's future. Lisa felt a wave of panic. But I don't know what to say to them. I'm not a diplomat or a politician. I'm just a nurse. That's exactly why they want to meet you, Alex said. They don't want to talk to someone who has been trained to say the right things. They want to meet an ordinary human who acted with kindness because that's who she is. not because she was trying to impress anyone. The screen changed one more time, showing a calendar with tomorrow's date circled in red. "Lisa," Alex said, "the meeting has been moved up. The council representatives will arrive tomorrow. Are you ready to speak for all of humanity?" Lisa looked at the images of the alien council members still displayed on the screen. Some looked friendly, others looked stern, and a few looked completely unreadable. "What if I say the wrong thing?" Lisa asked. "What if I mess this up and they decide humans aren't worth saving?" Alex walked over to her and put his hand on her shoulder. "My grandfather spent 40 years preparing for this moment. He chose you because he believed you represent the best of what humans can be. Trust his judgment and trust yourself." Lisa took a deep breath and looked at the alien faces on the screen. Tomorrow, she would meet beings from other worlds, and what she said to them would determine whether humanity would join the galactic community or remain alone on Earth for another century. "Okay," she said quietly. "I'll do it. For Frank, and for everyone on Earth." Lisa barely slept that night. She kept thinking about the alien faces she had seen on the screen and wondering what she would say to them. Alex had given her some books to read about the different species, but the information was overwhelming. How could she speak for all of humanity when she had only learned about aliens yesterday? The next morning, Alex picked her up from her small apartment in a black car with tinted windows. Lisa had asked to wear her nurse uniform instead of fancy clothes, thinking it would help her feel more like herself. "Are you nervous?" Alex asked as they drove toward the facility. "Terrified," Lisa admitted. "What if they ask me questions I can't answer? What if I say something that makes them think humans are stupid?" "Just be yourself," Alex said. "That's all my grandfather wanted you to do." When they arrived at the building, Lisa noticed that there were many more security guards than before. There were also several black vehicles parked around the area, and she could see people in dark suits talking into small radios. "Is something wrong?" Lisa asked. "No, everything is fine," Alex said. "But when alien representatives visit Earth, we have to take extra security measures. The president and several other world leaders have been briefed about today's meeting." Lisa's eyes widened. "The president knows about this?" "The leaders of every major country on Earth know about the Confederation," Alex explained. "They've been waiting for this day for years." Inside the building, Alex led Lisa to a different room than before. This one was much larger, with a huge round table in the center. Around the table were chairs of different sizes and shapes, clearly designed for beings who were not human. "The council representatives will arrive in about an hour," Alex said. "Before they get here, I want to show you something my grandfather left for you." Alex handed Lisa a small device that looked like a tablet computer. When she turned it on, Frank's face appeared on the screen. He looked younger in the recording, but Lisa could still recognize his kind eyes. "Hello, Lisa," Frank's recorded voice said. "If you're watching this, it means I'm no longer with you, and the time has come for the most important meeting in human history." Lisa felt tears forming in her eyes as she listened to Frank's voice. "I want you to know that choosing you wasn't an accident," Frank continued. "I've been watching people for 40 years looking for someone who represents the best of humanity. When I saw you stop eating your lunch to help a complete stranger, I knew I had found that person." The recording showed Frank sitting in what looked like his small apartment, with pictures of his grandson on the walls behind him. "The aliens you're about to meet come from worlds where helping strangers is not common," Frank said. "On some planets, people only care about their own families. On others, they only help people who can help them in return. But humans are different. Humans will risk their own safety to help people they don't even know." Lisa wiped her eyes and continued listening. "I know you're scared, and I know this seems like too much responsibility for one person," Frank said. "But remember that you're not just speaking for yourself. You're speaking for every nurse who has worked extra hours to comfort a sick patient. You're speaking for every teacher who has stayed late to help a struggling student. You're speaking for every person who has ever stopped to help someone in need." The recording changed to show videos of humans helping each other during disasters, emergencies, and everyday situations. "Show them who we really are, Lisa," Frank said. "Show them that despite our flaws, humans have something special. We have The ability to care about people we've never met and may never see again. That's not weakness, that's our greatest strength. The recording ended, and Lisa sat quietly for a moment. She thought about all the patients she had helped at the clinic, and how many of them couldn't pay for their treatment. She thought about her co-workers who often worked extra shifts without complaining. She thought about Frank himself, and how he had spent 40 years documenting human kindness. He was right, Lisa said to Alex. People help each other all the time. I just never thought it was special. That's exactly what makes it special, Alex replied. You don't help people because you think it's unusual. You help them because you think it's normal. A few minutes later, Janet entered the room. They're here, she said simply. Lisa felt her heart start beating very fast. Through the windows she could see strange lights in the sky. The lights were moving in patterns that no human aircraft could make. Those are their ships, Alex explained. They're landing on the roof of this building. Over the next few minutes, Lisa heard sounds from above that she couldn't identify. There were humming noises and what sounded like machinery, but unlike anything she had ever heard before. Then the door to the meeting room opened, and beings from other worlds walked in. The first to enter was the tall blue alien Lisa had seen in the recordings. Zarek from Nexion Prime moved with smooth, graceful steps and studied Lisa with large, dark eyes. He was followed by the turtle-like ambassador Kileth, whose shell patterns seemed to change colors as she moved. Next came Counselor Vex, the silver-skinned humanoid who had defended humans in the council debates. She smiled at Lisa in a way that seemed friendly, even though her features were different from human faces. The tree-like Elder Fothen entered with a rustling sound, her branch arms moving gently as if blown by a breeze. Behind her came Commander Thrix, the insect alien whose multiple eyes seemed to observe everything at once. Two more aliens entered that Lisa hadn't seen before. One looked like a living crystal, with a body that sparkled and reflected light in beautiful patterns. The other appeared to be made of some kind of flowing energy, constantly shifting between different colors. As each alien took their place around the table, Lisa noticed that they all moved carefully and deliberately. Despite their strange appearances, they carried themselves with dignity and intelligence. Representatives of the Galactic Confederation, Alex said formally, I present Lisa Martinez, the human citizen we have discussed. Zarek, the blue alien, spoke first. His voice was deep and echoing, and when he spoke, a small device on the table translated his words into English. Lisa Martinez, he said, we have traveled far to meet you. Your actions toward the human called Frank Coleman have been presented to us as evidence of your species' worthiness. We are here to determine if that evidence is sufficient. Lisa stood up slowly. Her legs felt shaky, but she tried to keep her voice steady. Thank you for coming, she said. I know this is important for my planet, and I'll try to answer your questions as honestly as I can. The crystal alien spoke next, its voice sounding like musical chimes. We do not wish to question you like a criminal. We wish to understand you. Tell us, Lisa Martinez, why did you help Frank Coleman? Lisa thought for a moment. She could have given a complicated answer about human psychology or social responsibility, but Frank had told her to be herself. Because he needed help, she said, simply. And I could help him. The energy alien shifted colors from blue to purple as it spoke. But you gained nothing from helping him. You lost time from your meal period. You risked being late for your work duties. Why accept these costs? For a stranger? I guess I never thought about it as a cost, Lisa replied. When someone needs help and you can give it, you just do. That's what people do. The aliens looked at each other, communicating in ways Lisa couldn't understand. Some made sounds, others changed colors, and a few seemed to communicate without making any noise at all. Elder Fothen spoke next, her voice like wind through leaves. Lisa Martinez, if humans join the Confederation, your species will gain access to technology that could solve many of your planet's problems. But membership also requires helping other species, even when it brings no benefit to Earth. Would humans be willing to make such sacrifices? Lisa thought about the question carefully. This was about more than just her helping Frank. This was about whether humans could be trusted to help alien species they had never met. I think they would, Lisa said. Humans help each other during disasters, even when those disasters happen in other countries. We send aid to places we've never been, to help people we'll never meet. If humans knew there were other species that needed help, I believe they would want to help them too. The meeting continued for 2 more hours, with each alien asking Lisa different questions about human nature, human society, and human values. Lisa answered as honestly as she could, trying to represent not just herself but all the good people she had known throughout her life. Finally, Zarek stood up. We have heard enough. The council will deliberate and reach a decision. Lisa Martinez, you will have our answer before your sun sets today. As the aliens filed out of the room, Lisa collapsed into her chair. She felt exhausted and overwhelmed. How do you think I did? She asked Alex. Alex smiled at her. You did exactly what my grandfather hoped you would do. You showed them who humans really are. Lisa spent the rest of the afternoon in a small waiting room with Alex. She couldn't eat anything and found it hard to sit still. Every few minutes she would look at the clock on the wall and wonder what the aliens were discussing. What if they say no? Lisa asked for the 10th time. Then we wait another 100 years and try again, Alex said, though Lisa could see the worry in his eyes too. Around 4 o'clock, Janet came into the room. They're ready to give you their answer, she said. Lisa felt her stomach drop. This was it. In the next few minutes, she would learn whether humanity would join the galactic community or remain alone on Earth. They walked back to the meeting room, where all the alien representatives were seated around the table again. Lisa noticed that they seemed more relaxed than before, but she couldn't tell if that was a good sign or not. Zarek, the tall blue alien, stood up first. Lisa held her breath. Lisa Martinez, he said, the council has reached a unanimous decision. Lisa's heart was beating so hard she was sure everyone in the room could hear it. For 57 years we have observed your species, Zarek continued. We have seen your wars, your pollution, and your capacity for cruelty. These things concerned us greatly. Lisa felt her hopes sinking. This sounded like the beginning of a rejection. However, Zarek said, and Lisa's heart jumped. We have also seen something else. We have seen humans risk their lives to save strangers. We have seen you travel across your planet to help people you have never met. We have seen you care for the sick, feed the hungry, and comfort the sad, even when you gain nothing from these actions. The crystal alien began to glow brighter as Zarek continued speaking. Your meeting with Lisa Martinez has confirmed what Frank Coleman spent 40 years documenting. Humans possess a rare quality that exists in very few species across the galaxy. You have the instinct to help others simply because they need help. Lisa could barely breathe as she waited for the final verdict. The Galactic Confederation hereby extends an invitation to humanity to join our alliance as full members, Zarek announced. Lisa felt like the room was spinning. She had done it. Somehow, she had convinced beings from other worlds that humans deserved a place among the stars. Elder Fothan, the tree-like alien, spoke next. Lisa Martinez, the council has also made another decision. We would like to offer you the position of humanity's first civilian ambassador to the Confederation. What does that mean? Lisa asked, her voice barely a whisper. It means you would travel to other worlds, explained Counselor Vex, the silver-skinned alien. You would learn about different species and help them understand humans. You would be the bridge between Earth and the rest of the galaxy. Lisa looked at Alex, who was smiling bigger than she had ever seen him smile. I don't know anything about being an ambassador, Lisa said. You know the most important thing, said Commander Thrix, the insect alien. You know how to care about others. That is more valuable than any training we could give you. The energy alien shifted to a warm golden color as it spoke. There is something else you should know. Frank Coleman will be remembered throughout the galaxy as the human who proved your species' worthiness. We would like to establish the Frank Coleman Memorial Protocol in his honor. What's that? Lisa asked. It will be a system for documenting and sharing acts of kindness throughout the Confederation, Elder Fothan explained. Every member species will contribute stories of compassion from their worlds. Frank's work showed us that goodness exists everywhere, but it must be recognized and celebrated. Alex stood up and walked over to a wall panel Lisa hadn't noticed before. When he pressed it, the wall slid away to reveal a window. Outside, Lisa could see Frank's old neighborhood, but now there were strange ships in the sky and crowds of people looking up in wonder. The ships became visible about an hour ago, Alex explained. World leaders are announcing the news right now. Everyone on Earth is learning that we're not alone in the universe. Lisa watched as people on the streets pointed at the alien ships with excitement and amazement rather than fear. Children were waving at the spacecraft, and news crews were setting up cameras everywhere. Are people scared? Lisa asked. Some are, Alex admitted, but most seem excited. The president is explaining that these aliens come in peace and that humanity has been invited to join their alliance. Zarek approached Lisa with something in his hand. It looked like a small device made of the same crystal material as one of the aliens. This is a translation device, he explained. It will allow you to communicate with any species in the Confederation. Consider it your first tool as an ambassador. Lisa took the device and felt it warm up in her hand. Suddenly, she could hear the aliens speaking in their own languages, but somehow she understood every word. When would I start? Lisa asked. Whenever you're ready, said Counselor Vex. But we understand this is a big decision. You can take time to think about it. Lisa looked around the room at all the alien faces watching her. She thought about Frank and how he had spent 40 years working toward this moment. She thought about all the people on Earth who would now have the chance to learn about other worlds and other species. I don't need time to think, Lisa said. Frank believed I could do this, and I trust his judgment. I accept. The aliens made various sounds that Lisa now understood were expressions of approval and happiness. There is one more thing, said the crystal alien. As humanity's first ambassador, you will be given a ship that can travel between stars. You will be able to visit your home planet whenever you wish. Alex pressed another button, and the large screen showed what looked like a beautiful spacecraft unlike anything Lisa had ever imagined. It was sleek and white, with curved lines that made it look almost alive. We built it using both human and Confederation technology, Alex explained. My grandfather helped design it years ago, hoping that someday humanity would need an ambassadorship. Lisa felt tears in her eyes as she realized how much planning and hope had gone into this moment. Over the next few hours, Lisa learned about her new responsibilities. She would spend the next 6 months training on Earth, learning about different alien cultures and diplomatic procedures. Then she would begin visiting other worlds, representing humanity and learning about the galaxy. Will I be the only human out there? Lisa asked. At first, yes, said Elder Fothen. But as humans become more familiar with galactic society, others will join the diplomatic corps. Eventually, there will be human scientists, teachers, and explorers throughout the Confederation. As the sun began to set, Lisa stood at the window watching the alien ships in the sky. People all over Earth were looking up at those same ships, knowing that humanity was no longer alone. Frank would be proud, Alex said, joining her at the window. I hope so, Lisa replied. I still can't believe that helping one old man in a park led to all of this. That's the beautiful thing about kindness, Alex said. You never know how far it will spread. 3 months later, Lisa stood on the bridge of her new ship looking down at Earth from space. She was wearing a uniform that combined human and alien designs, and the translation device had become as natural to use as her own voice. Tomorrow, she would begin her first official mission, visiting a planet where the inhabitants had never met humans before. She would tell them about her species' capacity for kindness and compassion. She would share Frank's story and explain how one old man's 40 years of documenting human goodness had changed the course of history. As her ship prepared to jump to light speed for the first time, Lisa thought about Frank Coleman and how a simple act of driving him to the hospital had led to this incredible journey. She was no longer just a nurse from a small town. She was humanity's voice among the stars, carrying the message that caring for others wasn't just human nature. It was humanity's gift to the galaxy. The stars ahead looked bright and welcoming, full of new worlds to explore and new friends. to make. And it all started because someone chose to help a stranger who needed help.